Hi folks, John Dunn here, RPG freelancer, publisher behind Melior Via. I'm up here at Immortals with Mikey.
What is up, John? You and I are both sleep deprived after this beautiful, beautiful schedule change. What do we got today?
Well, at least we have some decent weather outside, which is true here, but probably isn't true in the game we're going to talk about. And that's because we're back in the cyberpunk world once again.
Here we go.
Or at least the cyberpunk genre again. The game we're going to talk about today is Android Shadow of the Beanstalk. This is a setting book for Genesis. It is their cyberpunk genre book where they set it in the Android universe that they've developed. You familiar with Android at all, Mikey?
No, just the phone. Just the phone.
Yeah, that's a little different. So Android is their cyberpunk setting that they developed. They've done a board game. They did a couple of trading card games. They've done some fiction. Actually worked on their Worlds of Android source book, which was kind of a fiction compilation of different bits and pieces about the world without really being a game book. And this kind of leverages that a lot to turn that into a setting that really takes advantage of all those different things they did between that World of Android book and their card games and their board games. And it really became a pretty solid, cohesive setting through all that work. The folks at Fantasy Flight did a really solid job on that. The subtitle of this is Shadow of the Beanstalk. And if you look behind me, you can kind of see the beanstalk there. So that's a little bit of the New Angeles skyline there. And that beanstalk is a space elevator.
Wait, so yeah, I think the beanstalks are literally right behind you. Oh, so that's a beanstalk. It looks like a humongous skyscraper that goes eternity.
Yeah, so it's a space elevator. So you hop into that at ground level and you can ride all the way up into upper atmosphere.
Who takes care of that maintenance? That's the real question.
Well, there's some companies making money off of that, right?
Yeah,
so it's cheaper to ride the space elevator up to the top or to bring cargo down the space elevator than it is to use a rocket.
Do they mention how much it costs to do it, or
I'm sure it's in there, but I don't know off the top of my head. It's probably going to be some kind of formula based off of the weight of or mass of whatever it is you're moving.
That's interesting.
Also, where that space elevator is located is near the equator, right? Because that way you're taking advantage of centripetal force, the Earth's rotation and all that more evenly, more balanced. And so it's in the area that we know as Ecuador. So this is a new city that they created in Ecuador called New Angeles. Humanity has expanded out in the Android setting, so we're not just on Earth. We've got colonies on the moon, we've got colonies on Mars, there's space stations, there's other outposts as well. The setting has a lot of homages to other science fiction works. So just offhand, the Luna colony is called Heinlein. Familiar with Robert Heinlein?
No. Who is he?
He's kind of the grandfather of modern sci-fi. He did a lot of writing going from the 50s up through really the early 90s. I like a lot of his classic stuff.
Did he have any monumental discoveries?
Well, the thing you're probably most familiar with or most likely to be familiar with that he wrote was Starship Troopers.
I actually have heard of that, but I have no idea what it is.
Okay, so Starship Troopers was made into a movie and a TV series, and they're really pretty different from what he wrote. He had a very militaristic background. He was a Navy admiral, but we're getting a little off topic.
We are.
Yeah. He's a neat guy. I like his fiction. In any case, once you get through a little bit of that setting information, the book dives into character creation. It is pretty straightforward, consistent with Genesis. You do need the Genesis core book in order to take advantage of this setting book. You have several archetypes, which are what might be called species or races in other games. So you've got naturals, which are normal humans. The Bioroid, which is really the archetypical android. So it's kind of a robot that is running on artificial intelligence. You've got clones. You've got cyborgs, which are humans with, cybernetic parts, G-mods or gene mods, and loonies, so people from Luna or the moon colony.
They don't get offended with that nickname?
Well, it depends on the individual, I think, really.
Yeah. I got you.
Once you pick your archetype, then you pick your career. The ones that are established in this book that you could probably easily use ones from other Genesis materials as well are the academic, the bounty hunter, the con artist, the courier, the investigator, the Risti, which is kind of short for aristocrat, the roughneck, which is a 0G worker, the runner, which is going to be a computer hacker, a soldier, or a tech. Ideally, you're probably going to want to have a conversation with your game group about which careers you're going to have, because not all those are going to perfectly work together in every situation.
Which one did you go for?
Well, I'm more commonly the game master.
Oh, yeah. We forgot about that. Yeah, we say this every episode. John never gets to play. Can we get a petition going?
When I do play Cyberpunk, I tend to like to play some kind of hacker or con artist type, but it depends. It's not a real often thing. The book does introduce a couple of new skills, some new talents, some new favors. These are all things that are tied into the setting and just give you an opportunity to take advantage of some of Genesis features to really help explore Cyberpunk. It also introduces some factions, corporate factions, criminal groups, government groups, and activist groups, so that you can play those different elements of the cyberpunk setting that are really all in competition with each other off one another, so that your characters could all be coming out of that same faction and leveraging it, or you could have player characters coming from different factions, so that you do have players kind of working against each other at the same time as they're trying to accomplish their shared goals.
Have you ever read or seen Ready Player One?
Oh yeah, read and seen.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the sequel too. Yeah,
that setting looks familiar.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of so Ready Player One is definitely a cyberpunk setting. Really doesn't have a lot of cybernetics to it, but definitely the hacking elements, the negative utopia, the people living lives where they're using the net to make themselves, escape reality and adapt reality to something more pleasurable than the physical world that they're stuck in. Very cyberpunk. The book does have a gear and equipment section. It is your archetypical cyberpunk stuff, guns, armor, cybernetics. A neat thing that they do is, there is currency, but a lot of times you're better off using favors than trying to buy things. So you're kind of doing a barter where you do a favor for somebody and they might give you the gear that you need to accomplish the mission. There's a whole chapter on the network, which is basically their hacking environment. So again, talking about Ready Player One, that kind of thing where you're doing things in the computer environment. And then there's material on the setting, particularly on New Angeles and Heinlein. Again, that's the planet that's the base of the Beanstalk, or the city that's the base of the Beanstalk, and the colony on the moon. And there's a variety of NPCs, and there's a GM section that includes a decent adventure builder so that you can kind of get things running fairly quickly.
Wait, so when you do that elevator to space, where do you go when you get to space? Is it just connect to different planets or space stations, or what?
Well, yeah, so it's one end of the Beanstalk's basically a space station. Oh, okay. So then you grab a shuttle if you're going to a nearby space station, or another type of ship if you're going somewhere further, like saying you're running out to the moon or one of the Lagrange points or the asteroid belt or Mars. You're probably going to need a ship that's better suited for a longer trip than one if you're just hopping a shuttle to another space station that's orbiting Earth.
Makes sense. I just needed the confirmation.
Absolutely. This is a fantastic source book for taking a look at the way they put those different archetypes and skills and materials together. So even if you're not set on doing cyberpunk specifically, it's a great toolkit. If you are planning on doing cyberpunk, this is a fantastic setting that really, really tunes in on where cyberpunk has gone since the 80s and becomes a fully realized setting that you can just do a whole lot of different things with.
One adjective to describe this, what would it be?
You got to go with gritty, because cyberpunk's all about the grit.
I'm just more impressed that you came up with the word.
Gritty is the word anytime you're talking cyberpunk.
That's it.
This is a full color book. It's 256 pages, and it is $49.95 up here at Immortals Inc. on the shelf. Stop in and take a look. Till next time, good gaming, folks.
Later.